going on, Saints fans? Welcome to our mailbag. We do these every single Wednesday as a part of our live show, so be sure to subscribe and join us Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Central Time. And I'll tell you what, we get a lot of questions. We have a lot of people join, so I can't necessarily get to everyone's question. But if you want to ask me a question, you want to share a hot take, you just didn't get yours in on the mailbag, or hey, you just found the video later, that's totally fine. Hit your boy up on social media. If you follow me and you DM me, I'll be sure to respond to your DMs. I honestly love chopping up with the Who Dat Nation. I'm not too popular and I'm not too big of a YouTube guy to just not reply to DMs. So if you guys have questions, if you have comments, if you have anything, you want to learn about me, you want to learn about the Saints, you want to learn about whatever, hit your boy up on social media, and that's A-OK there, Lopez. Alrighty, first question in. We got a super chat from CTM. Shout out to you, my friend. Trace, who are your top 5 draft prospects for the number 9 pick? In no particular order, I'm just going to give you 5 names I'd love. Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State. Tet McMillian, wide receiver out of Arizona. Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Honorable mention, I would go with the James Pierces of the world, the Abdul Carters of the world, some of those edge rushers and whatnot. Will Johnson is a cornerback as well. A lot of needs for the Saints, but the top 5 that I named are definitely the route I would go. Saints Stan, New Orleans should sign Asante Samuel. He played with Brandon Staley. Look, I've actually seen this one before. There's obviously a connection between Asante Samuel and Brandon Staley. It's not like Asante Samuel had a great year last year. But there's familiarity there, and I think that cornerback is a position in need, and I think that the DB group entirely needs to be better for the Saints, and maybe change scenery, maybe a new city would be good for Asante Samuel, and it would be good for the New Orleans Saints. So we'll have to see. Who knows? Jayden, Trace, if you had to choose one of the Saints to sign a free agency, would you choose between Davante or DK Metcalf? Well, right now, I'm going to say this for those of you who don't know. DK Metcalf has, at the time of filming this video, Wednesday, March 5th, in about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, DK has requested a trade. He's not a free agent yet. That doesn't mean that he won't become a free agent, but I think that they'll likely trade him. I would go with DK. I think he's exactly what the Saints are missing offensively. I just don't think that either of these will truly happen. It just feels like they're going to be priced out for the New Orleans Saints. Aiden, what's your dream realistic first 3 picks for the Saints? Mine's Tet, James Pierce, and Treyvon Henderson. I'm going to go. How do I want to do this? I'm going to go here different than you. Tyler Warren, round 1. Trey Harris, round 2. Best available edge rusher, defensive lineman in round 3. Or you go best available edge rusher in round 2, and you go like Cam Scottaboo in round 3 or something like that. I think that those you got to address the offense and you got to get playmakers, and you should add to the defensive line. So I'll say final answer: Tyler Warren, best available defensive lineman, or Trey Harris, and then Trey Harris / Cam Scottaboo / Treyvon Henderson. I like all those options. Name a player you want to sign in free agency. There's a lot of good names out there. There's also not a lot of good names out there. Who's a player you want to sign as an NFL free agent? Let me know down in the comment section. Next question coming in from Tushy. Actually, we're going to dive into Tushy here really quick. I got to tell you all about today's presenting sponsor, and it is Tushy Bidets, my favorite sponsor, your favorite sponsor, and I'll tell you what, my butthole's favorite sponsor. Tushy Bidets are absolutely amazing, and here we are in the great month of March. No football, but I'll tell you what, March Madness is right around the corner, and it's a sacred time of getting together with the fellas, yelling at the TV, while deleting some beers and crushing some pizza. And there's no doubt about it, your bracket will bust this month. But that doesn't mean your butthole has to as well. Aura is Tushy's brand new electric bidet with an auto-open lid and seat. Instant warm water that never runs cold, and UV sterilization for next level hygiene. Aura by Tushy easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. You don't need to be an electrician. You don't need to be a plumber. It's so easy. A Falcons fan can do it. An installation takes less than 10 minutes, and honestly only about 10 minutes. It's so easy to install, but it's even easier to use. You sit down, pull an Atlanta Falcons Drop a deuce, if you will. You clean up, and then you dry using the built-in air dryer. That's right. Cleaning yourself after using the restroom is now hands-free. So reclaim your comfort zone on the porcelain throne. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code CHAT. All the information is in the comments and description of this video. Shout out to Tushy for sponsoring today's show, and shout out to you for keeping that hiney shiny. Mr. Filmer, next question. Are there any under-the-radar players in the draft who could provide great value for the Saints and make a significant contribution? Mr. Filmer, what a good question. Everyone clap it up for Mr. Filmer. All right, so one name that I really, really like, he's a linebacker out of Iowa. Jayden Higgins is, I believe, his name. Jayden or Jay Higgins? I want to make sure I get this right. Was this guy? Yes, Jay Higgins. Jay Higgins, the linebacker out of Iowa. He's an absolute freak. Just like such a textbook traditional linebacker. Like, to be honest, the Saints need that. He could be like a good Demario Davis replacement over time. And as Demario eventually does hit retirement. Other running backs, Treyvon Henderson's a really good one. Dylan Sampson's a good one. Dante Thornton, listen to this. He's a 6'5", 215-pound wide receiver out of Tennessee. 26 receptions, 661 yards, 6 touchdowns, an average of over 25 yards per catch. In 2023, he had averaged 17 yards per catch with 1 touchdown. He transferred from Oregon, spent his first 2 years of college football there. So that could be another option. I think that's one to maybe explore, and, we'll have to see. In terms of other players, there's a lot of those wide receivers. Jack Bash, he's not really a sleeper, but definitely one to keep an eye out on. He's from Louisiana. I think that'd be a really good addition to the Saints depth chart. Trying to think of running back too. I said Dylan Sampson. Colston Loveland at tight end, but that's not really a sleeper. Gunnar Helm, he's going to be a good one. Mason Taylor, those aren't really sleepers though. There's, to be honest, you have really good opportunities in the top 4 rounds to make some really good picks, and I think you got to make sure you do that. But Mr. Filmer, I really appreciate the question. Cam Scadaboo, also a name to keep an eye on, but again, not really a sleeper, just really good football player. Zion's Ozempic. I'll never forgive the Minneapolis Miracle, but sign Stefon Diggs. Oh man, I'm with you, dude. I don't like the idea of bringing in the Minneapolis Miracle. Let's call it spade here. Stefon Diggs is good at football. Shout out producer Lopez here. You also have a need at wide receiver. There's no question about it. You got to add to this group. When Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Dante Pettis, those guys are free agents, I mean, you need more. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Bub Means, those are good players, but again, you haven't seen Shaheed or Olave play a full season yet. You haven't seen Bub Means play a full season. It's only been 1, so it's not fair to say, but I think that wide receiver is a big need. And to be honest, I like the idea of Stefon Diggs as like a leader and as like a locker room presence, not as a locker room guy. I don't think he'd do all that. I think he's more of a diva than anything. But, I do know this. Jeremy Chuggs, the host of Texans Today here, he knows that the Texans love Stefon Diggs, and they love him in the locker room. They think he's a great teammate and stuff. I think that Stefon Diggs is a massive, just shit shot. It'll probably never happen, but I'll tell you what, if it does, he's a good football player, and the memes would be absolutely hysterical. What do you think? What would you do? Would you sign Stefon Diggs? Just give me a sign or a pass down in the comment section. I'm going to go pass. I don't think it makes all that much sense. I think he's going to be expensive, and, he's coming off of an injury on the wrong side of 30. But you can't question it. He's a good football player. Finley, do you think we will retain Taysom Hill? I think we need to, even if it's just half the player returning from injury, still would be one of the best utilities in the league. So, Finley, two points I want to make here. First one is, yes, I do think that they're going to retain Taysom Hill. Kellen Moore has been very adamant, and he's been very open that he wants to make Taysom Hill a featured part of the offense. And then he also has made it very clear that he's also agreed that, or not agreed, he's also made it clear that Taysom Hill has been recovering well from his injury. So we'll have to see what happens. I don't think it makes sense to cut him, but if you do, you actually save $10 million if you make him a post-June 1 cut. So that is something to think about. Does it make sense? Probably not. I think the best thing to do is just ask him to take a pay cut more than anything. Rather than cut him from the roster, ask him to take a pay cut. Because, look, again, he's coming off of an injury. He wants to stay in New Orleans. New Orleans wants him to stay around. Like, take the pay cut, Taysom. Like, that'd be really cool. It'd be really helpful. Come on, 7. We want to see that happen. All righty, cool. How active will the Saints be in free agency, and who are some realistic targets they can go for? First of all, I think they're going to be pretty active. Mickey Loomis quite literally said that they're going to be more active than they were last year in free agency. Don't expect a lot of splashy moves. Don't expect a lot of big, huge name signings that are headline-grabbing names, but expect, like a Christian Kirk or maybe like a Aaron Jones or maybe, I don't like. Who are realistic targets? I'm going to be honest. It's not a lot of great ones out there in terms of free agency. I think you got to build in the draft more than anything. Not a lot of good offensive linemen. Javon Hargrove is available. I want nothing to do with him. Like, Saints should be active in terms of realistic free agent targets. I'll make a video about that, going into this week. I don't expect them to be very active in terms of big names. I think it's going to be a lot of smaller name players. Cole, I wish I had some names off the top of my head. Some aren't real. I can't think of nothing's come to my mind. Saints, would you #Saints actually from Queen Courtney? You all know what to do. Get the Queen emojis in the chat. Would you sign Tyler Lockett instead of trading for DK? I would. Oh God. I did see a tweet said we should sign Tyler Lockett for the sole purpose of how to teach Chris Olave how to take hits and how to go down. It's a good idea. Would I sign Tyler Lockett instead of DK? I think DK is better. I think he fits more of what the Saints need. I know that it would cost you more, and I know that it would be more of a splashy move, but if it's between DK or Tyler Lockett, I'm taking DK. Loco Lover. Oh, God, here we go. Javon Hargrove. Did you put this in here because I said Javon Hargrove? No, absolutely not. His production's gone down every year. He's old. No. I don't want to sign Javon Hargrove. Like, if you want to go here, let's see. D-line free agent targets. Let's see here. 2025 best defensive agent or defensive line free agent targets. From CBS, Poona Ford, DJ Jones, BJ Hill, and Milton Williams, Levi Onwuzurike. I don't know if I said that right. There's also Mekhi Becton. He's an offensive lineman. That's not a defensive lineman. There's another one for you. Cole, Mekhi Becton. No, do not sign Javon Hargrove. That's a bad idea. All righty, Avery. How do you feel about Baun getting that big contract after leaving? Hey, man, it's due. It was deserved. He was signed a 1 year, $3.5 million contract. Now he's due over $34 million guaranteed. I hate that the Saints didn't get to utilize him. I hate that he's getting good production for players that the Saints had on the roster at one point. I mean, it feels like it's the tail of the tail of player either comes to the Saints and Saints can't afford to keep him, or player doesn't do well with the Saints move on, and then they go on and do great things for another team. It just feels like I've seen the song and dance over and over again. I'm very happy for Zach Baun. Congratulations to him. It's very deserved. He worked his ass off. He was a really good football player this year, and I'll just add, best of luck to him. It's very deserved. Saints got to start figuring out how to get these guys to stick around and how to utilize them best at their ability. Danny, Trace, Ashton Jeanty and Alvin Kamara sounds nice. What do you think? I agree, it does. I think that Ashton Jeanty and Alvin Kamara, not only are they good complements to each other, but I think that Ashton Jeanty could take over for Alvin Kamara as the bell cow back after Kamara inevitably retires. I do think that there's something to say about the New Orleans Saints, though, drafting Ashton Jeanty in round 1. If you do draft a running back in round 1, it should be a this is one of the pieces we need, and this is one of the few pieces we're missing. I understand going with a high upside, highly skilled and best player available, but I also think that when it comes to Alvin Kamara and the Saints and Ashton Jeanty and the Saints, beef up the trenches, find other places to succeed, because we saw what happened with the Eagles. They were running back away. They added Saquon, and look what happens. They had the trenches developed. They had the trenches established. They had everything else established. The quarterback, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, all of that was established. Defense, they're set. They just need a running back. So I've always been in the camp of draft Ashton Jeanty in round 1. I like it. But, the longer I kind of think about it, and the more I talk to it with the guys here at the Chat Sports Studios, I'm like, man, maybe we are better off going Tyler Warren. Maybe we are better off going Ted McMillian, or if Will Campbell's available, or one of those guys. So I like the idea of it. I'm starting to kind of change my tone on it, but I still think that Ashton Jeanty, I'll tell you what, like, if that's the pick, I'm going to be happy about it. I think it would be an excellent selection. He's a great football player. Be sure to subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the sub button. We're doing something right if you're still watching. So lock us in. Free Saints videos by Saints fans for Saints fans. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.